Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. It's time now for our look at what's made it into this Friday's international papers with our press reviewer, Nicholas Rushworth. Hello, Nicholas.
Good morning, Lorna.
Right, so we're going to start off with that US debt crisis as the deadline looms ever closer, the 2nd of August, coming up pretty quickly now. That's Tuesday. So what are the papers saying about it this Friday?
Well, I'm going to kick off with the China Daily. This is obviously of global reach, and the China Daily has a cartoon with the US debt snowballing down that hill and crushing what you see. That small globe there is actually the world, and there's a sense as it's about to crush our planet. The American papers are also conveying a sense of urgency. The USA Today's international edition has an editorial which is harking back to Ronald Reagan. It asks, what would Ronald Reagan do? Not what today's Republicans are doing, it says. It says Reagan would agree to tax increases and he would compromise with the Democrats. The paper's arguing that the present-day Republicans have strayed from his model, and that model is giving a little to gain a lot. I'm going to turn to the Wall Street Journal, and it has a quote in an editorial saying, Congress has made so many promises to so many Americans that there is no conceivable way those promises can be kept. It argues that a downgrade is looking increasingly possible from a AAA to a AA, and it says at the end of that piece that is the first step on the march to Greece. Here in France, Les Echos is one of the business papers. It is also looking at this crisis, and it's asking there in that piece, you can see, is asking whether the three credit ratings agencies are kinder to the Americans than to the Europeans, implying some degree of favoritism. It says several European officials suspect Moody's, Standard & Poor's and the Fitch Ratings Agency of being extremely sensitive to criticism in the United States that targets them, and of turning a blind eye to such criticism here in Europe.
OK, well, let's move on now to European matters and indeed Norwegian papers. There's a comment piece by the Norwegian writer Jostein Gardner in the International Herald Tribune. Now, he was the author of that best-selling philosophy book, Sophie's World. Now, what's he saying about what happened in Norway?
Well, he's co-authored a piece with a professor at Oslo University, and that piece, as we can see there in the headline, Europe's Simmering Extremists. And the two writers say that it is tempting to view Anders Behring Breivik's attack as a case of pure evil, but that, in fact, we shouldn't go in that direction. Instead, the massacre should be seen as part of a rise of racism and bigotry on the web. They argue that Breivik believed he was acting on behalf of a new far-right community that would thank him. And there's a quote that stood out for me. It's saying that Europe's new far-right has replaced anti-Semitism with Islamophobia.
Well, something of a change of tack now, talking about here in France, a piece about the Paris property market that caught your eye, Nicholas.
Well, this piece was covered in the French press yesterday in the press review. We looked at Libération, which is looking at a report by Sherpa and Transparency International, two anti-corruption NGOs. And Britain's Daily Express has picked up on this. It headlines on African dictators buying up Paris. There you can see the headline and a picture of Nicolas Sarkozy with Gabon President Ali Bongo. And the paper covers the details of that report, saying that he owns the Gabon President's 16 properties in Paris, and the Republic of Congo President Denis Sassou Nguesso has 9. So there you are. The target of the paper there is basically to attack Britain's aid. Where is it going and who gets it?
Okay, and finally, the China Daily.
And the China Daily. This picture caught my eye. We were in the height of summer now, and of course, it started out with the China Daily and the crisis of the debt. Here we've got Shanghai, the Shanghai Daily, bikinis on the Bund, and a pool there is sort of our equivalent of Paris Plage here in Paris, so everyone's soaking off. So that debt crisis is only kind of like you can dip into the pool to cool off about it.
Okay, well, thanks very much indeed, Nicholas, for that look at all today's international newspapers. That's it from us for now. Do stay tuned to France 24.